Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 3 of Just Put Paint on It, with me, Skari, your grateful host, wonderful co-host, and even more amazing guests today, and for the rest of the season, which will be 32 or 34 episodes. You will get to hang out with us as we sit, paint, and chat with some of the most awesome people in all of the gaming tabletop community around the world. I'm, of course, Skari, this is Tanya, and, of course, Matt, who is our guest for today, one of the original co-hosts of Just Put Paint on It when we were just starting, like, 2 years ago. So it's really cool to have you back on, Matt. I know, it's been so long, hasn't it? If my voice is a little funky, I am stuck at home with COVID, so that's why my voice is so funky. But we're going to be painting, we're going to be chatting, and you can stay tuned with us every Thursday and Friday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want to catch the live show. If not, they will be recorded and saved on a playlist on YouTube, so you can all watch all the cool people we talk about and put them there while you paint and stuff. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Twitch. Anyway, other than that, let's get started introducing wonderful co-host Tanya. Why don't you tell people a little about who you are and what you do and where people can find you?
Well, I'm Tanya. Some people know me as the War Mistress, and I make videos. I've been kind of MIA for a while as I sort of get my mind right on what path I want to take going forward. But I'm getting really close to making a plan to come back. So, stay tuned. I have the next episode of Be Nice, Roll Dice, which is like a little talk show that I do, and it's I just have to edit it, and then it'll be ready to go. And yeah, I'm gonna be making more regular content starting real soon.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. And of
You
course,
can also find me on like Twitter and Instagram and Fortune Narrative Podcast and
that's you live on the podcasts, don't you?
yes.
Yeah. And what are you working on today?
I'm painting my maw pot.
Nice.
I painted the
tribes.
soup. I painted the soup green because I love the movie Conan, and the hand soup always like weirded me out. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make the hand soup.
That's amazing. It's funny because we're slowly, it's been great. You and I have sort of transitioned from talking 40K to talking AOS on almost a like consistent basis because AOS is such a fun game, and we've been doing a lot of that stuff. And that anybody can see, I'm working on this Ruined Aquila, which is a piece of terrain that I've had primed and with the gray on it forever, and I'm going to be working on it today. I've been on a terrain kick, making terrain to like invite people over to play games and have some really cool narratives and stuff. Of course, I haven't been able to have people over the last week.
Womp womp.
So I'm so sad. Okay, so introducing our wonderful guest for today, Matt from
That's me.
Alpha Strike Wargaming. That's right. So, Matt, why don't you tell us a little about who you are, where you're from, and your store just grand reopening is going to be happening. And you're one of the local game stores for this region, and you're a community hub, you're a great hobbyist, you're a high competitive whack player. And so
me.
why are you telling? No, I'm just joking about that part. Like, but you're a fantastic hobbyist. And so tell people a little about who you are, where you're from, where people can find you as we move forward.
I just have one thing. Are you live on Twitch? Because it keeps telling me that you're
I'm not
offline.
I'm
No.
not I'm on YouTube now. We're doing this whole thing
you're
on YouTube.
Oh, why you dirty me like that, bro? Okay.
Yeah,
It's
no.
Twitch. Blame it on Twitch. We can't compete with the hot tub meta.
We can't.
With the hot tub meta?
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
I won't ask. I am Matt, aka Alfarius. I purchased Jax on Queen about 2 years ago, and the previous owners, Kimberly and Tim, were so kind as to entrust me with taking over their baby that they had created, an 8-9 year process that they created an awesome community. And We shared very similar ideals, so I purchased it off of them. They wanted to get out to spend more time with their families. And over the past 2 years, I've been slowly shifting the community into more of a tabletop orientated like group. And I kind of decided about January, the 1st of January, that I was going to rebrand to make it a little bit more me. Jackson Queen is a name that Kimberly and Tim, it has significance for them, but other than a place that I came to play, it didn't hold any weight with me. So actually, it was yesterday that I unofficially reopened as Alpha Strike Gaming. Gave the store a paint job. We took down some walls, so I have an absolutely enormous gaming area. And got the new sign put up yesterday. And yeah, I just want to put a huge, absolutely enormous shout out to a couple of individuals. Billy, you're my boy, and you know why. My dad, because without him, I would still be trying to put the store together and still be trying to paint. And my wife for putting up with my BS for the past 3 months of me saying, God, I want this. God, I want this. And she's like, just shut up and do it. She's been my sugar mama for a year because COVID has really hurt me. But been able to keep my head above water and have a place where people can still come out and play. That's me. What am I working on today?
Yeah. What are you working on today?
Yes, destruction, homies!
Some
Oh,
AOS Trogoths.
we're starting an
I-
AOS. We're
I-
going to be starting an AOS podcast soon, where we can talk about all things AOS all the time.
That's good.
Please.
I was playing 40K and I had a hobby project where I put together like these chaos knights and I converted every single one of them so that they look like war dogs. They're all quadruped. I really am pleased with them. I
Yeah,
really
they
like
look
them.
awesome.
They're not very good in the current meta, and I didn't really care because initially I just wanted to convert some models and paint them and made them all dirty and grimy, which goes against everything that I stand for. I like clean, crisp models, and I grimed the crap out of these guys. They're just dirty and battle damage, and I don't know. I'm really pleased with them. But the 40K is just it's completely run away. I don't want to be that naysayer. This seems to happen all the time with me, where it's just like, oh look, a new book comes out. Well, it has to be better than every single book that's already been printed, and then a month later, that book gets nerfed. But it means that a previous book now, I'm just tired of it. When I saw some of the leaks for Tyranids, and I saw that a Termagant's flesh borer is more powerful than a bolter, I went, peace out.
Back to AOS it is.
Back to AOS, and it's AOS is that ex-spouse that you've had that you're just super comfortable with, that you always go back to
You co-parent with them.
because they will always be there for you regardless of what you've done.
Yeah,
And that's AOS to me. It will always be there for me.
that's
This is
exactly.
my
That's how
bae.
it feels. You know, when you're like, you know, AOS and fantasy have always been like that for me. For like when you burn out from 40K, and you're back, it's like I just need a wizard to fucking fireball something. You're like,
Right.
"Bam!" You know, or like
Or in
I
your
need.
case, what, eight of them?
Yes, well that's the gash, but yes, I do play with a lot of trees though. I've been on that
Ooh.
Sylvaneth train like for a while since I started working with Mini Wargaming to do like the content and stuff. But I want to go and take a minute to say hi to everybody in chat. Go Vessa Web, good morning. Farsier Chibi Paint, that's right, that's what we're doing. The motto of this entire show is just put paint on it. Which I like to remind everyone of. It's sort of like a philosophy that we follow, where if you're stressed and you don't know what to do, and you're like, you know, running out of ideas, it feels like you're anxious about it, you can just put paint on it. And that tends to solve a lot of issues when it comes to thinking?
I just want to interrupt you for 2 shakes of lamb's tail because I wasn't happy here. And guess what I did?
Just put paint
Just
on
put
it.
paint on it.
I just put paint on it.
Yeah, you changed the
These
colors
walls
from
were
red to standard Alfarius green, blue.
Green. Yeah. Yeah, imagine
You
that, right?
are going to
love
be
it.
so excited, Matt, because Gear Guts Mech Shop has just released Marines, not Marines.
Okay.
And I am going to paint them as proxies for Alpha Legion.
Oh.
But I'm going to try and use the Rob Symes Honest Wargamer Slap Chop method.
Nice.
But I'm going to modify it a little bit. So I'm going
Like
to
it.
prime everything black, and then I'm going to do 2 dry brushes of silver. So I'm going to do a dark silver and then a light silver. And then I'm going to contrast it. I haven't decided which color contrast yet. And then I'm going to see where we're at. And then if it needs edge highlights or whatever, then we'll deal with it there. But I think it's going to take no time at all.
Nice.
Pterodon turquoise is the color you want to use.
From experience.
I'm telling you right now. When contrast paints first came out, I was like, what are these things? I'm trying to use them outside of the box. And then finally I just gave in and started doing it, using them and oh my God, painting has just become fun because I can paint an entire unit in an afternoon.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? It's fine. Is it going to win me a golden team? No, but you know what? I got my models on the table.
And they look
They look good.
Yeah.
Right?
And it also
That's
inspires the hobbyists around you too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have a cool looking army and someone's working on an army, if you can say, hey, it was actually really easy to paint this, it becomes a lot less stressful for people to paint their armies, right?
It really does, yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually been my motto too lately, is just get it done. So I could be putting a lot more effort into my models, but they look pretty good when they're done, and then I can play with them. And our little Age of Sigmar community is painting way more than our 40k community. That feels really good.
Well, you did say you and I
Surprise
had
you?
some conversations about how the 40k community in your area, and this might be something that folks around the world are experiencing more and more. That their sort of 40k communities are kind of deteriorating a little bit, especially with how overwhelming a lot of the stuff that they're coming out with can be, the amount of stuff they do release, and then when they do release stuff for your faction, sometimes I'm not the only one, but a lot of the times if you're an average gamer and your faction becomes the silly broken thing, and then everybody plays it or they judge you for playing it, it can be really depressing, especially since you've been so excited to see it or whatever and have it. Well, back to so I just wanted to say hi to chat before it scrolls too far up. Farsu Chibi says, "Hi, nice try, Matt, but I am Alfarius," says Farsu Chibi.
We are Alfarius.
We are. You guys watch that little clip? There's 2 Black Templars. There's this little GIF clip or whatever.
Yeah.
2 Black Templars going, "We're Black Templars. We're the Black Templars. 3 of Black Templars. Zeal and the Emperor and things." And then one guy's he's
Avenge
"Okay,
me,
what was your name
brother!"
again?" He's "So, okay, what's your name? What, Alfarius?" He's "No, I'm Alfarius." And they're shit. Anyway, it's just really fun. What up, Keith and Alexander? Alex, what's going on? Nurgle Snurgle. Huge shout out to Nurgle Snurgle. How are you? And of course, Kalith. What's going on? Twitch is warm and safe, and YouTube is new and scary, says Keith.
So is Discord. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, no, I have to get you onto the. I don't know if I have this Alfarius version of you on the patron Discord. I have your old Discord, I think, on the patron one.
I
do.
I just
okay. You
I
just don't use it.
I don't use Discord.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you
it's
should.
Not even. Why?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Fair enough. Okay.
How many cell phones do you have?
I have 1 cell phone.
Why don't you have 3?
Correct.
Because you don't need more than 1. I'm not a social media person. I don't like it. So therefore I use Facebook Messenger. Sure, I'm coughing up dust, whatever. But I use it because it does what I need it to do.
Which is message people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I understand. We can have like a whole. I guess we could do a whole session on, why social media is the devil or whatever, which would be really funny. If we wanted to like trigger a few people, but
I'm triggered.
yeah. Well, it is like social media can be is like a freaking minefield. You know what I mean? Like it's just you know what I mean. It's just like
Oh, I know what you mean.
yeah. So
I know
like
what you mean.
I love all the cool people I meet on social media, right?
Yeah.
Like I love
But
that
then you could get
aspect
them
of
on
it.
Discord, and you could
Yes.
just talk to them directly, and you
Yes,
don't have to.
absolutely. A lot of the times I'll be like, yeah, just hit me up on Discord, like and if you do go through the effort of finding me on Discord or whatever, then sure, we'll chat. Um, oh boy, so you're just gonna build those troglodoths or whatever?
Trogoths.
Trogoths?
I'm making. This is my Alpha Strike Gaming's first store army.
Nah, oh,
Is
So we'll
cool.
do destruction. I've been trying to find an excuse to put Kragnos into an army.
You do have Kragnos, don't you?
I have Kragnos, and guess what? Was
Ah,
painted with contrast paints.
nice. I do remember I played against him, and that was before he got good.
Yeah.
They did
I,
they
I
did give
had
him a
a
boost.
I had a fella that came in and he brought a Slaanesh army, and the week before he had purchased a Keeper of Secrets,
Mm-hmm.
and oh, I have people at the door.
Yeah, you do your thing, man. You can put us on pause.
Pause.
You got a business to run, man. That's of course
Mute.
Matthew. Matthew from Anywhere He always says, business is business. He says, don't say thank you to me for stuff I need to be doing anyway. I was like, okay. Because one time he was like, I was like, I had to like, I don't know, they had to shut down production for a day or whatever. And so he's like, no, you get paid for the day and stuff. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. And he's like, well, I have to do that. Like, don't say thank you, because it's something I have to do anyway. So that was really cool. I
Yeah.
love doing collabs and contract work with them. It's really fun. It's been almost 12 months. It's going to be 12 months soon. A whole year
Oh
of doing work.
man.
I know. I feel so like. I feel like people now recognize me more from that than from my own channel. I know. Yeah, you do stuff with the mini wargaming, right? Yes, that's the only thing I do. Thank you.
You know
Oh,
what though? Like I joined the Ogre Mod Tribe's Facebook group because while I'm not really playing competitively, I do kind of want to know like what people are doing unless they're building and stuff. And so I was like, hey, thanks for letting me in and doing the whole introduction thing. And then people were like, hey, you're from Play on Tabletop. And I was like, yeah,
yes, I am.
yeah,
Well,
not really, but yeah.
yeah, it's not like they haven't like kind of want you on the team anyway, right? Because you're amazing,
Eh,
and who wouldn't want you on a team? In the 80s, I was a painting machine, says Paul Greer. I took a long break from painting to be a dad. Nice. That's amazing. I came back about 5 years ago. I came back to my orcs. I had my army stolen about a year ago. Oh, no.
Aww.
I can't paint anything. Any advice to get past this? Oh, man, that's such a bummer. I'm sorry to hear that. Like, fucking people who steal shit, man. They drive me, like, I much prefer, if someone is homeless and hungry or, like, wants money, I much prefer them coming up to me and being like, hey, can I have $100 or whatever they fucking need, instead of, like, stealing something. Like, I'll give you money, okay? Like, just don't soil your soul with freaking, like, stealing shit. Anyway.
My advice, I would say, instead of like painting an army to start with, like maybe just grab some D&D minis or something. Just go find a cool miniature that you think that looks really cool. I may not do anything with it, but yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah. I know it's painting like a single miniature or like one unit or something. I think that's a great idea, Tanya. And, I kind of felt That's something I found helped me personally when we started just put paint on it, and I'd been doing some paint streams or whatever, and it's definitely not the same thing as getting your army stolen. But what I found is, I the now that we're opening back up again, the whole painting stuff to get it ready for a tournament is real. Like that sort of like mentality of just like getting stuff painted because I have a deadline. That keeps me motivated to paint regular stuff. But during like COVID, I didn't really want to paint anything to do with my army, and I found that I needed to paint individual units and models that were like completely unique, and I'm probably never going to use like one-offs just to keep sane, essentially.
Yeah.
So if you so if you do start with like one unit, like get yourself, I don't know, something that has nothing to do with orcs, maybe a piece of terrain, right, or like a display piece, or maybe a Forge World, like a character model from the Horus Heresy or something, and just take your time with it. It could be one project that you do, and hopefully it's sort of like a version therapy in a way, where you kind of like expose yourself little by little back to the thing that's causing you like trauma or issues, and eventually you sort of like your body helps develop like a process to fight it or whatever, right? Yeah. But
Yeah.
that is a good way to look at it as well.
Yeah.
But I hope that
the other
helps.
thing that you could do is you could like make a diorama. Like that's something you're probably never gonna play with, but it could be very like inspiring in a way. So you have to like create a little story for your diorama and
So
all
going
that.
back to elementary school, las maquetas, what we used to call them, las maquetas, una maqueta. So,
Interesting.
yeah, my son had to make one the other year, and it was about, I think he chose to do it about seals in the
Neat.
Arctic.
I'd never made one of those in school.
Yeah,
I feel ripped off.
Oh yeah, we had to do them all the time for things. Like
I
you had to
never
use
had to do one.
plasticine, or like you had to use like little. There's a whole like sometimes you had to do the geography ones where I had to do like a topographical map of like the country or whatever, and so you'd like try. I remember doing one about the entire topography of Mexico, like with the mountain ranges and stuff, and
Interesting.
yeah. It was
Nope.
like I guess the being a hobbyist thing became like, they fostered that in my school.
They did.
Which is exciting. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to make a display board for my Beast Claw Raider army list for June.
Ooh.
I have heard. So I'm going to that 1,000-point charity tournament.
Which one?
It's called Toss Your Cabers.
Nice.
And this is the first year that they've actually done AOS. Normally it's like a big 40k tournament, but they also have like Marvel Crisis Protocol now and like a bunch of other games. But yeah, so this is the first Age of Sigmar like year that they have Age of Sigmar. So but I've heard through the grapevine of all the people that I know, because it's basically all of the Play On guys that go to it. I've heard that the hobby is like off the charts at this particular event, so I think I'm gonna have to make a diorama. But I kind of want to do it like an underground cave, so it's kind of like a vertical display board.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure how to do it, but I'm sure that I can.
Have you looked at some of the pictures from some of the stuff people do at Adepticon?
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of vertical like displays at Adepticon, so you could probably get some ideas of like how they did lighting or how they like showcased it or that sort of thing. Anyway, that's just like you can do whatever you want, of course. I've just always been in awe of like when people do like a 3-tiered display and it's like the sky, the castle, and the dungeons under the castle or whatever, and you're like, that's nuts. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, I want to do it like a cross section of a cave. So like I can see it in my head. It's like vertical and it's like sort of rounded and it goes in.
Yeah.
With the maw pot at the bottom.
Mhm.
So I could see it in my head. I just have to figure out how to do it. But I might ask, figuratively speaking, Minnie's Courtney to like walk me through how to do it because she makes these amazing dioramas. So if anybody can help me do it, it's her.
Yeah, she's definitely got some good stuff. There's some great artists on Instagram and on Twitch and on Twitter who do some like crazy cool hobby stuff. So it's always a great place to start looking for inspiration for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back, Matt.
Why, thank you.
We were just talking about display boards. Have you ever made like a really intricate display board?
I did for my Grey Knights. I remember for a berry bash, like the night before, staying up until like 2 o'clock in the morning because I decided to do a what do they call it? A checkered pattern.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, Tanya.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, that's the head. And the snakes are like dead, like they're skeletal.
Oh,
It looks
neat.
baller. I'm like, I guess what I'm terrified of is some little kid coming in going, "Ah!" 'Cause
Do like a
it's
jump
pretty
scare for
terrifying.
them. That's hilarious.
Yeah, right?
Be like, hey kids, we're gonna go into a dark cave in Minecraft stream, and then like blow that up in there on the screen like a lot.
They're coming
like
to get
jump scare
Pokemon
them.
and they leave traumatized for life.
I don't want to go back to Alpha Strike War.
It's gonna be scary, lady.
It's going to be scary. Nightmares. I am Alpharius. Paul Greer says, so get back in and do something else. That's a good idea. Well, I do have a huge pile of shame. Yes. Although,
Nope.
here on the stream, we do like to, we're reinventing that term to pile of potential. And that is definitely something that, there's no shame in having a whole bunch of stuff. And, yes, eventually you're probably going to get to it. But don't put yourself down for doing what you enjoy. Right? So let's kind of change the script here and call it a pile of potential from now on. Because it is untapped potential is what it is. And eventually
just gives
you'll
you
get to
wider
it.
variety.
Yeah.
That's all.
Exactly. And then every once in a while you can get on a kick of lowering or eating through some of that potential, which is something I did recently where I was like, I took a week and I built like a case worth of terrain and I primed it and painted it all in like 3 days just to like make sure that part of the potential lived up to its potential. And from there we went on. The Misadventures of Mr. Fish says, I love making display boards. My buddy has me working on a swamp board for his Cruel Boys. Nice. Basically the swamps of Mordor meets AOS. Yeah, that's neat actually. I like the Cruel Boys, they're cool. You have some Cruel Boys too, right, Matt?
I do have an entire Cruel Boys army.
Nice.
They're just they're not my play style. They're too sneaky for me.
What? They're too sneaky?
Too sneaky.
Aren't the Alpha Legion kind of sneaky?
They are, but not on the battlefield.
Gotcha.
Right. But they're really tricksy and it's cool, but they're like the Drukhari of AOS.
Are they really? Is that what you
really are?
Really bet more than the Sylvaneth?
100. Okay, when I can say, hey, you see those 3 units that you've got? Put them back into reserve.
Right.
Your units, not mine. Your units.
Wait, you can make my units go back into reserve?
Yep.
What?
Yep. And the whole, hey, guess what?
It's
the first turn of shooting, or the first turn. You can't see me.
Yeah,
I did
know
invisible.
That I did
Unless you're
know.
within 12 inches. Yeah, it's the, I can't remember the dirty trick or the tactic. cunning tactics, but it's like put them back into reserve and they come on as reserves.
So
Interesting.
you could just make me put anything into reserves, or did they have to go into reserves to begin with?
No. So anything that is on the battlefield, you roll a d6, and if it's equal to or exceeds their wound characteristic, they get put back into reserve.
So you can't make a big monster like.
No.
Okay.
You'll never do that.
But
it's D3 units.
A unit of like 1 wounded models or whatever would be a lot easier.
No, it's like your unit of 20 fiends. They have a wound characteristic of 3 or 4.
Yeah. So as long as you roll high enough, then they go into
4.
reserve. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. And again, I could be playing that completely incorrectly, and like that's me. I play stuff wrong.
I have only played against Cruel Boys twice, and it was both times like new players, so I didn't experience that, but maybe.
They have a lot
they do have like lots of sneaky stuff that they can do, so I wouldn't put it past them.
And like they're super synergistic. Like you look at a unit of Cruel Boys on paper and you go, these guys suck. Like, they hit on 4s, they wound on 4s. They've got like a 5-up save, plus 5+ armor save. I think they've got like movement 5. Like they're really trash. But then you go, cool. So my Swamp Call is going to give them this.
Yeah.
And it turns their weapons, their venom encrusted weapons, into, if I hit on a 5 or 6, you now take mortal wounds.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Then you can, all-out attack with them. And if you've got a Nashtooth Killaboss nearby, if you fail an attrition test, you lose 1 model, regardless of what you fail by. Only 1 model runs away.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Like there's, and like you put, what's his face? The Gobtooth. He's like their big spellcaster, and he lets a unit, when you you charge them and they can shoot, it just does it for free.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So, yeah, the Fury or whatever. So, like, the one, I don't know what to call them, the clan culture chapter, whatever, you can put your East Skewer Boys, which are like their crossbowmen, and they become battle line for you.
Yeah, I know that's a very common thing to do.
So, they're good, but they're not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're good,
I think
but they're not good.
They require a good pilot, number one. They're not a wind up and go. A good pilot to run them, and like you need to know their rules. And me, I just like.
So you need to be a petulant whack player? I'm out.
I don't think you need to be a whack player. You just have to have studied the battle tone.
Yeah, it's just a joke because somebody sent like an angry email or something to Stutter Scrub, was it?
No, it was so Jesse loves telling this story. He's one of the co-hosts of the Stutter Scrub podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts, by the way. I literally listen to very few podcasts, and the Stutter Scrub is one of those podcasts. But no, he tells this story. There was this article on Bella Lost Souls that he read that triggered him big time, where the guy was like, the guy that wrote the article essentially said something along the lines of he was describing what a whack player was, or what a petulant whack player was, and to summarize the article, the summary was, you're a petulant whack player if you know your rules. Like, that was kind of like what came across from reading the article, according to Jesse. So, now, of course, we know that a win-at-all-cost player is somebody who will gotcha, sometimes cheat, right? Will essentially win at all costs. They don't really, they'll bend rules, or they'll use loopholes, or whatever it is, because all they want to do is win. That's in terms, that's the, when you call somebody a whack player in the, serious sense, right? That's what we mean, right? So it's not like a term that you just throw around lightly because you call somebody like filthy whack player. Like that means it's like a derogatory term almost. But
It's like calling them a cheater.
yeah, exactly. It's like borderline. Like you'd probably cheat to win. You know, like if the situation arose, like that's the mental. That's the aura we get from you. But he called people petulant whack players. And so Jesse and Dustin from the Status Quo podcast have sort of like appropriated that term as more of a, as they've just appropriated the term as like more of a friendly jab at someone who knows their rules. You know, like it's become more of a comedic thing, whereas like,
Right.
oh, you being a petulant whack player now because you activated a unit, piled it in, consolidated it, like, and did it in the right order, that sort of thing. So
they're taking the term back, basically, right?
Like yeah. So they're
taking power over it.
Yeah. So it's just funny, and he gets triggered all the time when he talks about being a petulant whack player. And then the other one they use is the filthy casuals, which is another term in the Warhammer community of somebody who essentially gatekeeps you because of the fact that you're not adhering to the lore. So like,
oh, damn, I'm a filthy casual then.
Basically being like, somebody who comes up to you and goes like, there are only so many Terminators in a chapter. You have more than the normal Terminators. Like that sort of thing. So that's like the term, like filthy casual. But
gotcha.
At the same time, we use that all the time, to like razz each other in a friendly way, to be like, you're such a pet, you're such a filthy casual. You probably read the italics on the stratagems, that sort of thing. The flavor.
There's some awesome flavor text.
They're really cool, right? The flavor text. But we always like make fun of each other because that makes you a filthy casual. Because like, why would you care what it does? You should just be a petulant whack player and only care about the effect. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, so I guess I have to kind of categorize myself into that filthy casual player. There was a tournament many moons ago. I'm about to date myself.
I'd date you too.
Oh.
And this is how Skaredcast became a dating site.
So way back in the day when your allies could not have more than, I think it was like 40% of your army could be spent in allies. And I'm playing at a prolific tournament that was held in Toronto every single year. And my second round opponent chose me his Grey Knight / Dark Angel army.
Yeah.
And I went, what? Well, it's Grey Knights and Dark Angels. And I'm like, you can't do that. They hate each other. How are they? And like, I'm not saying it out loud because he was an awesome dude, honestly. He, in the last turn, he was like, oh, what are you doing? Why are you moving your models that way? If you move the models this way, you will win the game. And I'm thinking to myself, but I want to kill your chaplain. I don't care about winning the game. I want to kill your chaplain. But yeah, he was a great opponent, but it just didn't make sense to me how he could put Dark Angels and Grey Knights on the battlefield together. And I mean,
because he wanted Inquisitor Cotias in there.
Cotias didn't exist at the time.
Oh, really? Oh,
this was great, like old, like metal, like one pose Grey Knight type things.
I get it. Interesting.
So that's kind of me. I'll never fault someone for doing it. You want to win a game, you go right ahead. You do you, right? But I'm gonna look at you funny if you've got your Tau and Nurgle army on the board.
Just because the rules say that you should, just because the rules say that your Farseer can summon demons, which is something that could happen in 6th edition, doesn't mean you should do it.
Yes. Right? Your Blood Angel and Necron army, because there was one book where they worked together.
They fist bumped.
That works for me,
yeah.
right?
the bowl or whatever, or Tyranids with Necrons, or there was like some weird ally combinations you can come up with. I always find it interesting. Like when I tend to temper my thought process based on the event I'm going to. Like if I'm going to a very competitive event, like I don't care. You can mix and match and get the best combination if you want. Like doesn't matter to me. But if you're going to like a Crusade event or an Apocalypse event or some, like something that's just like supposed to just be rolling dice and having fun, you know what I mean? Like, why try and game that? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? What is
I bring your
the
9
point?
Void Reavers, right?
Yeah,
What's the point?
in Apocalypse, that's not too bad. But I mean, like, in like a Crusade event, be like, oh, well, that's the fluff. That's the story behind my Harlequin troop, is they have 9 Void Reavers. No.
Uh-huh.
I don't approve of your choices. Keith
Like,
says the
again,
potential.
If that's the way you play the game, then you do you, right?
Yeah.
Just don't get butthurt when I say I don't want to play against you.
That's true. That is also true. It's one of those things where if you have people over to your house, and that's the thing about like competitive 40k, there's so many, like myself, any of the Art of War crew, any of the competitive channels out there, they're like pundits for the game. We talk about competitive 40k all the time, and so a lot of the competitive ideas get out into the world, and a lot of them are really, really strong, right? It's like, oh, I found a way, like if you were playing football as a sport and you'd be like, I find a way that you could add Ronaldo to every list or whatever. And you'd be like, or to every football team, you'd be like, hell yeah, I'm a professional football club. I want to add Ronaldo to my team too, So if you could do that, sure. You know what I mean? That would be really cool. However, in 40k, in the games, everybody has access to every model, no matter how unique they are, or the models themselves. So you can kind of do that. And because, like, there's a lot of information that goes around being like, this is how you do it, this is how you pull it off, that sort of thing. For everybody at home, it can seem very overwhelming. But in reality, I would say that in reality, when somebody plays in their house, they're rarely going to have somebody show up with the stupid list.
Depends on your area.
Well, that's true, but unless you, like, both are on the same page. You know what I mean? Like, if you're saying...
depends on your area.
Okay, but if they show up to your house, and they show up with a stupid list, then they only show up to your house one time with that stupid list. Or you have a conversation with them and you say, hey, that was a stupid list. I would prefer if you didn't bring something stupid next time.
And then they say, no, I'm only going to bring this. And then you say, okay.
And then you go, fine, then you and I will not have a game. You know what I mean? So you have like a lot more control over like how you and your friends can play this game at a local level. You know what I mean? Like you can craft.
When you play Tau, you're not welcome at my house.
Yeah. Well, if you play Tau, like don't play 9 broadsides. You know what I mean? Or like like play like one of everything. Or even though that's really strong. Like I played a game against my brother's Tau. The other day, first game him and I have had in like 2 years. It was really cool. Him and I used to play all the time, but I digress. We had a lot of fun, and he brought his brand new Tau that he's kind of been working on. Is it brand new rules Tau? Yes. Is it really strong? Yes. But he's not like bringing a lot of the stupid shit. He's just bringing stuff that he's like, ooh, I like this and I like that. And the game was really enjoyable. I brought my Black Templars, he brought his Tau, and we kicked the crap out of each other. And we used the new Tempest of War cards, which, by the way, are amazing.
Agreed.
So what we've done with our Age of Sigmar crew, so what happened in my local is that it's very competitive. There used to be people who would come out to game night who were not very competitive. However, the competitive crew, they refused to tone down their lists, even for pickup games, even for playing new people. And I was the only one who said anything about it. And so our 40k community just sort of like fell apart. Nobody wanted to get pickup games. Nobody wanted to come to game night because you just never knew what you were gonna end up playing. And like, you're not gonna come out and just see that like everybody's playing like the flavor of the week meta list, and you
Yeah.
brought your like, like Mr.
Space
Fish
Marines.
says, this is my like all orc infantry list, like I don't even have like beast snagas.
I brought my
And
orc horde, he says.
yeah, like you don't. There's just a point in time where you're like, I'm kind of done, right? And so what we did with our Age of Sigmar crew is it's a private group, and you basically it is for people who have social anxiety and for people who do not want to play competitive at all. And instead of having like tournaments or events, we've started having game days. So we've just sort of like used semantics to like label it differently. And like it's just this like amazing group of people who are just having fun playing games and painting their models and bringing lists that have painted models. Like, I painted this, so this is what I brought. It's just like a totally different vibe, and it's like now my husband and I are kind of running it, and we're super protective of it. So we've kind of had, and it's funny because the 40K guys are sick of playing each other, and they're like, oh, we can't find games. And so now they're like, hey, what's Age of Sigmar about? And we're like, oh, the double turn, you really wouldn't like it.
Stay away from my nice casual group, filthy
Yeah.
whack players.
Yeah. But they are whack players, so...
Saludos desde México, Stroker Gamer. Saludos desde Canadá. Un saludo. Gracias por venir a ver el video. Estamos pintando con gente excepcional. It's funny, I went on on my Meta Monday, I went on like this 5-minute rant where I just said it all in Spanish, and I had so many comments being like, oh man, I didn't know you spoke Spanish. I was like, yeah, and then I literally was like, and then I did a Spanglish thing where I went back and forth for like a whole paragraph, like Spanish and English, just to like confuse the shit out of people. Anyway, super fun. Keith,
You need to answer a question for us, Ridvin. Do you inherently know how to box?
if I use my luchador mask, yes.
You need to show up at an event with it.
I don't have a luchador mask, but I do have
I'll
my.
get you one.
I do have my. Oh man, that'd be so cool. Skari, el arconte. Yeah, that'd be so fun. Could I have one with like little ears, like a little elf knife ears, with the same face as the Archon with the skin face? Could I make like a luchador mask with this? With the my face is your face Archon, like face?
That's not disturbing in the least.
That'd be so cool. I'd wear that. I'd wear that to games. Look people straight into the eye, and then like sniff like really loudly so they freak out. Hello, Clarice.
What is brings some lotion with you?
Yeah. Toss them a little complimentary lotion. Be like, ooh, another victim for my next mask. Puts
God.
the lotions on the skin.
So my roller derby name was Tannibal Lecter, and everybody tried to get me to come out to the track with a bottle of Chianti and some fava beans.
Yes.
And I never got the opportunity to, because the last year it was really hard to get games, and then now I just can't do it anymore.
You just show up to
I feel like it was like a missed
with
opportunity.
it or whatever. Just show it up, just as like just show up to the team's practice just with the fava beans. Be like, who's going to be my dinner?
Whenever I like crushed the jam and like crushed the jammer's soul with my gigantic derriere, I would like go past the bench, and all my teammates would be like,
amazing.
yeah.
Incubi luchador mask. Let's go. Look, if any of you out there can find a custom luchador mask maker that can make me the Archon skin mask with like little pointy ears, so that I can have so it need to look like I'm wearing a helmet and then the mask is literally like stretched over the mask,
I
so like the
can
eyes are like, that'd be so freaking cool. I'd wear
I can
that.
find you somebody who makes like wrestling gear for wrestlers.
That'd be so
There's
cool.
people on Instagram who
I'll
do it.
custom. Oh man, I'd custom make that mask instantly. Like just wear it for like a live stream on Games Workshop or something. It'd be fun.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed.
Hey guys, says
Uh,
Keith. I brought a 7x7 Plague Marines. What did you bring? 9 broadsides? Oh, yeah. Talking about lore, like I brought my 8 squads of 8 Khorne Berserkers in 8 Rhinos because I like the letter 8 and I like Khorne. And you're like, good. I brought 15 Crisis suits with airburst fragmentation projectors and a reroll wounds commander.
oh.
Good luck. Or like,
But
Tau
that was
Flamers.
that's like basically how my like local area fell apart.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
like having a game group is such a privilege. Like a lot of people don't like. I don't think they understand that like having people to play with on a consistent basis is more than, it's not a right. It's like a privilege. Like if you find people who have the same interests as you, like that is like really cool to find those people, but you have to like protect it. You know what I mean? Like it's on you to craft it, protect it, and if you're like and build it up. You know, the little group that we have that has like that we do D&D with like John the Cron and like Rob. You know, like that's it, and then Tyler as well and Billy. You know, that's like the little game group that we've been cultivating for like almost 2 years because we're all relatively close by and stuff like that. And we do like Crusade, and we get together to play Crusade games and campaigns, and it's not just the slobber knocker 40k all the time. If we did that, we would literally like hate each other. I can tell you right now, we would want to like just rip each other's faces off, put them on masks, and wear them. Or maybe that's just me.
Man,
Maybe that's
Skari, that mask looks really lifelike. Who made it for you?
I know.
I did.
I'll get you the name of my homunculus.
We do a 40 casual up here on Sundays, and so I agree with you that you need to kind of protect your community, but you also don't want to be like, well, you can't join us because you typically play at a competitive level.
Well, you have to give everybody a chance, I
There
guess,
was
right?
exactly there was.
But
there was
we
a
have
guy
given them a chance at 40k, and they wrecked the community, right? And like all of them who have expressed interest are like, I want to play Sons of Bahamut.
No, I'm
You
talking.
know?
No, I'm in terms of Matt. Like, I'm assuming
Oh.
like you have gamers who are known playing competitively, but they've adapted well to trying to build some like more narrative-y stuff for the casual
Well,
Sundays.
What happened was we had a couple of like not casual players come out, and they brought their not casual lists, and they played against one gentleman, and like bless his heart, he looked at his opponent, and they had all their stuff set up, and they go to do their first turn, and he was like, oh wait, no, I'm going to do this, and he like redeployed, which allowed him to put units into reserve and da-da-da. He just pulled this, like, not a gotcha moment, but it was these uber shenanigans that made his opponent completely outpositioned.
Yep.
And there's an obvious skill level in between the two players. And his opponent went, okay, good game. You should find someone to play against that understands, A, what you're doing, and B, is on the same skill level as you. But I'm going to pack my models up, and I'm not going to go through this. And his opponent, who's the competitive player, went, oh, okay, my bad. Let's re-rack. I'm going to change my army list so that it doesn't have these hyper-competitive elements in it. And we'll play a game that isn't out of the book, where we can make our own scenario. And his opponent, who was like the newer player, agreed to it and came to me at the end of the day and said it was one of the best games I've ever had.
Nice.
Yeah, but like I've done that before with one of these players, and he just let me leave. He's like, okay.
Well,
Really? That's what you just
but
want.
what I'm saying, and I did.
But I mean, like, you gave them a chance, but then they squandered it. You know what I mean? Like the other,
Yes.
you know, it sounds like it's on a case by case basis in a lot of cases.
Right.
But, like, if
Like, I
somebody's
don't
like,
want people to think like I'm like unreasonable.
Yeah.
Like these people have given I left like playing them before, and then they're like, "Hey, we want to do like more of a hobby-based thing. Do you want to like join our group chat? We would love to have you in there because you're an amazing artist." I was like, "Cool, yeah, that sounds amazing." I joined their group chat. I think I lasted 2 months, and they were bringing shit kicker lists to play brand new players again. And I told them, I said, "I don't agree with that. I know that you guys think that the only way that you can learn is by just bringing the best and just like kicking the absolute crap out of people, but I've seen that wreck our community, and I think you need to have conversations with people honestly about what your list can do before you go to the game store."
Yeah.
And they were
Yeah.
just like, "No." And I was like, "Okay, bye-bye."
Well, yeah, but that's you know, that's like sounds extremely toxic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is.
And I would definitely look at that and go, you know what? I agree, but at the you know, it's gone to the point where, like, there are some people that when I would play, even at a tournament against them, I don't give a shit enough to, like, sometimes even want to play some people. I'm like, you know, like, and I've debated internally, being like, how much do I actually want to play this game? Like, is it worth me spending 2 hours worrying that this person is gonna, like, flip out on me? Or, you know, am I just gonna, like, be able to play a game where we're on the same page? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so it's been that, like, debate. I haven't actually done it yet, but I play the scenario in my head, and I'm like, how would it go down? Okay, be like, you know what, man? If you just want to win, like, totally up to you. I don't like it. It's not worth the stress
Mhm.
for me to, like,
Yeah.
go through this with you. If you
The
just want to
last-
win, you can have the win. I don't need this notch on my belt. Like, I
Yeah.
literally do not need to prove anything to anyone.
Yeah, the last tournament that I went to, which probably is going to be the last 40K tournament I go to in a long time, my last round I got matched up with that guy that I said I'm leaving because I don't want to play against this list. And I had told Alex that if I ever got matched up with him, I would just concede because I don't care, and my 2.5 hours is worth more to me than duking it out with somebody who makes me miserable.
Yep.
And so yeah, we got matched up, and I started to pack up all my stuff, and I guess he had told the TO that, and they're like, "Oh, we're actually changing these pairings," so I got to have my third game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was totally prepared to be like, "Well, that was a good game. I had 2 good games.
Yep.
It's good enough for me."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
It's not. Honestly, stress will kill you. Like, it is
Yeah.
scientifically proven to slowly eat you from the inside.
It's
So-
true.
So you know, it's not worth the stress. And
Yeah.
now, don't anybody who's just, like, tuning in for the first time or found this video and is like, "Whoa, man, that sounds really scary." This is not, like,
This is not
this
typical.
is not a typical, like,
No.
thing. Okay, like, most people are awesome. But the
Yeah.
outliers tend to stick with you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
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 But let's go back
Like
to the
I
chat.
said, all 3 of my games were awesome.
Yeah. Let's go back to the chat. Ortvald. Oh, it says Zantiadi says you could be a team mascot in a big foam fava bean costume. That would be a mask for joining Slipknot on stage. Yeah, that's right. Ortvald says, I think I learned the most about playing better when my Tau was underpowered. And I feel that when everything just works, I don't learn anything. You're speaking my language. You know, one of the reasons I became a great Drukhari player was because I am a stubborn son of a gun, and I wanted to play them where they were terrible, and I just taught
it's
myself.
A cow.
Yes.
Sorry.
You've
been trying
Yeah,
to,
it's a cow.
I'm
I
trying to
have that
figure
kit.
out. I'm like figuring out what the hell. It's a horse or a donkey or a something. I'm like, what has he got?
It's a cow. Nice.
Sorry.
Cow.
Amazing.
Mhm.
Who's got the beef? He says. So hey, I'm in a
Dude, don't make me troll you.
By the way, anybody who doesn't know, we love our. I have to set up the chatbot for YouTube. I haven't done that yet, so that we can have all our cool chatbot commands that pop up. Of course, if you're just tuning in and want to find out more about these wonderful people, I'll be putting links in the description. So technically and strategically, 40K is a very hard game to learn miniatures gaming. Oh, yes, it is like incredibly complex. But people love the fiction and it draws them. Yes, it is the immersive nature of Warhammer 40,000 is freaking incredible. I'm a GW fanboy. And I have been subscribed to Warhammer Plus since the very beginning, and I've been enjoying all the Warhammer Plus stuff, even though it frustrates me to no end that it's not as good as I wish it would be. But, like, for example, the last episode of the Exodite that went out this Wednesday was worth the wait, okay? It was freaking amazing, and anyway, the lore is just so cool. Like, I could literally just play Crusade and narrative games for the rest of my life and not care. But I love the tactical aspect of playing, like, chess matches with people, which is why I like competitive play. But I love trying to do that with, like, weird lists, too, just to kind of, like, hone my skills, which is why I love doing work with mini wargaming so much, because I get to play really, like, weird things that I would never play normally against people who literally also is their job to play games for a living, which means that they can also run really stupid stuff but know how to play the game really well, right? Which is not something you can usually associate
I
with
will
the two
say
things. So
the games that I've had for battle reports have been like my favorite games, right? Because usually you've collaborated a little bit in the list building process, and I don't know, they just feel a lot more relaxed, strangely enough, and just really fun.
Yeah, the entertainment value goes up the more fun you have, that's for sure.
Yeah. I will say, your games with Lionel, he seems hilarious.
And he's one
I
of the
want to
most
play with
competitive
him.
players you'll ever meet in your life. But him and I
Yeah.
are on
He's a boss.
him and I are on such the same page when it comes to like tactical play and maneuverability and zoning and we're on the same page when it comes to the technical aspects of play, where he'll
Yeah.
he'll like do a little move and I'll see it and be like, fuck, that was incredible. That was so good. Like, just moving your model 3 inches this way totally destroyed my whole plan. And he's like, haha, see, that's kind of cool. I was like, I'm going to put that in my little notebook of how to mess with people, like that sort of thing. And I
Yeah.
enjoy those games a lot.
I want
He's
more Lionel
pretty
in my
funny.
life. He's hilarious.
Oh my gosh. Oh boy.
Hey,
Let's.
Sanguinius 40K is in the chat there.
Hey, how's it going,
you wanna do a
Sam?
little shout out to Sam and his new YouTube channel?
Yeah.
If you're a Blood Angel player, and even if you're not, go check his stuff out, man. The dude's hilarious. He's such an awesome dude. I had the privilege of meeting him in London for like the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I've been living under a rock.
Well, he's only been playing competitively for a couple of years now. Like, since just before COVID, he was making a name for himself, and then boom, everything shut down.
Right. Tim introduced me to him, and I was just like, dude, you're on top of the world. Like, yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be the next top player. I'll tell you. He's got that. He's got that gusto. But yeah, Sam Gwinius 40K. So if you didn't know that it's about Blood Angels, then you've definitely been living under a rock. Sorry, man.
Yeah, no, just.
So make sure you check him out. He's in the chat. Make sure you put your link in the chat there, bud. I think it'll allow it. And if not, I'll allow the link in the chat if it like blocks it or something, or hides it. Put your thingy in the live chat. He's been doing. Wow. He did a. Oh.
I said, wow.
Yeah. Well. Okay, let's go back to chat. Hey, I'm in a Crusade League, says Farsuit Chibi, at the local store with this Necron guy who is getting roughed up pretty bad in his games. Now he has resolved to take the Silent King in a 50 power level game. Is that okay?
Good for him.
Yeah,
Good
well,
for him.
you know, if that's what he feels is going to be the solution to, like, you know, not get roughed up, let him try it. A lot of the times, taking a big unit in a small game isn't always the best choice, because you might, like, beat some stuff up, but you might not score enough points to win anyway, right? So, like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, if your opponent buys into it and just goes, "Oh no, big scary thing," then you'll end up doing better. But it's about points, okay?
So a lot of the people in the Age of Sigmar League are like brand new to wargaming, and because of that, I've been sort of bringing like weird lists, and we've been doing doubles matchups. Because there's a lot of people who have like social anxiety in the group, and they find it a little bit easier if they can like be matched up. Like, oh, I don't have to go make friends. Like, oh, I've got a friend, you know. And so I got matched up with an Oziark Bone Reaper person, and I had brought a list that was just all like dad bods, ogres, like no beast claw raiders at all, to match up with his. And I don't know if you know anything, they're not that good. They can do damage because I brought iron guts, but they don't last. And so I basically, and I sort of knew this going in, and I was like, I think that his stuff could win us the game. So I just like moved my stuff up to like screen our back objectives, and basically they had like, they were both playing Stormcast, they had chariots, so I was like, okay, well, like now the chariots can't get into like our zone.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I lost everything by turn 2, and then I just spent the rest of the game, and my opponent was really sad. Like, he was like, oh, we've lost the game, right? Like, well, you've lost everything, it's just my stuff. And I was like, no, we haven't lost the game. I'm gonna help you, and we're just gonna score points. And the rest of the last turns, I didn't do anything. I just basically walked him through, like, we could do this to achieve this, or we could do this to achieve this, and we ended up scoring a tie with like not really killing much of the Stormcast stuff until the very last turn. So I was so proud of that, and that was really fun for me to actually like be the teacher for once instead of being the student.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy how, like, keeping the eye on the prize, it's one of the ways that you can win with, like, a subpar faction, is don't play against the army you're playing, play against the mission that you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, if you're playing an underperforming faction in a lot of games that are tabletop games, like, you know, especially Age of Sigmar 40k specifically, don't try and beat the other person's army, because their army's probably newer and better. Try and beat the mission. Because the mission's the same for both of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes a lot easier to kind of do that for sure.
We had 2 turns where we just moved stuff, and he's like, we're not gonna fight stuff, we're not gonna shoot stuff. I said, nope, we're gonna run onto objectives, we're gonna create screens, that's all we're doing. And he's like, oh wow, okay. And yeah, that's what we did.
It's funny how it's so
yeah.
counterproductive to, like, what people want to do, which is have their models like
Yeah.
beat other stuff up. Hey, Alexander, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. With a little unicorn sticker. That's so nice of you.
No, so
Little
cute.
unicorn sticker. Sorry, Matt, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say the very first Berry Bash AOS that I went to, I brought my Sylvaneth, and you know, at the time they're probably one of
Even
the worst
now.
rated.
Even now. Yep.
You know, so well at the
Womp
time they
womp.
were one of the worst rated armies,
Mhm.
and I had a total of like 4 games under my belt of AOS, and I walked into the tournament and with the mindset of I don't need to know your stuff. I don't want to know what your stuff does.
Mm-hmm.
I'll find out along the way. And I just played the game, and it was a 5-round event, and I went 3-2. I went 3-2.
Yeah, you did well with it.
Yes, I lost to Bone Reapers, Ossiarch Bone Reapers, and
Back
in the
when they
first
were
round
stupid.
I lost to the dude that won the event.
Nice.
But it was really awesome because I remember playing against an opponent. And they're like, okay, so I'm going to go through my list, and I'm like, save it. You know what it does? I'm still trying to figure out what my army does.
Mhm.
And I remember playing against Danny Cameron in like the fourth round,
Yep.
and one of my units just murderized one of his his ogre units, like just murdered it. And you know, rightly so. He was like, "Can I just see the rules on that?" Absolutely. Showed him the rules because I'm like, if I'm doing it wrong, like I'm gonna feel like trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And found out that not only was I doing it right, but for the entire tournament, I had been forgetting that Kurnoth hunters inflict mortal wounds at the end of combat in addition
Mm-hmm.
to what they do. And I'm like,
The
oh
little
wow,
stompy stomp, yeah.
oh, so I actually should do more damage than I do.
Amazing.
But yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, I don't care what your army. It's not that I don't care. It's that I'm more concerned about what my army does
It's
than
funny in
trying to
this
worry about what your army does.
in
Yeah.
the same vein, I could kind of see that my partner was getting like a little bit of analysis paralysis as well, and like because that's something that I really struggle with too. I'm getting better at it though, and I could also see he was really worrying about like, well, if we lose this, if they kill this, what are we gonna do next turn? And I actually just turned to him and I said, you know what we do? We just watch and see what happens on their turn, and then once we start our next turn, we look and see what we have left, and then we do what we can with what we have left. We don't worry about it now because there's nothing we can really do to change what happens,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's worry about just having a good time. And yeah,
And we did, and we almost won. So
that's amazing.
yay!
Doubles games are the most fun, says Zato. They're always a great time.
Agreed.
Doubles or team-based events. I feel like the best way to play tabletop games is at a team event. You know, 4 players, 5-player teams. You have like the most fun, and I feel it's the most balanced as well.
There
Very, very.
is it looks like a really fun team event in Calgary,
Mhm.
but because it's a tournament, I can't get anybody to go with me because they're like, we don't want to play competitive. It's like, well, I get it, but like, even if we come in last place, this particular format looks incredible.
Yeah, it's just so fun.
So
Because you're more like go to hang out than you just play a game in between hangouts. It's kind of like how that works. You know, like
yeah,
I got to play my first team tournament in London, and
Mhm.
aside from my like Nambo game 2 that was against team captain for Stutter Scrub, where I basically lost on turn 1, but that was my captain throwing me under the bus.
Which is
He
funny because
basically
we
was.
gave you the option of picking me.
I know, and I was like, give me at least I can score points against Drukari.
Yeah.
I'm not going to win the game, but at least I can score points.
We were so surprised you didn't go for it.
Well, it wasn't my choice because I asked
Yeah.
him, I begged him. I'm like, let me play against Raven. But I guess when I talked to Tim afterwards, he had just basically said, he's like, I thought that everyone else had better matchups.
Right.
So he's like, I put you against the Tau because they're just going to raffle stomp everybody at that point. Let's just make it so that the other matchups are good.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I took one for the team. And Adam was a great guy. Like I even though he's like kicking my butt through the roof or whatever,
9 broadside.
it was a fun game because I could see the pain in his face too.
Yeah.
Where he's like, this game isn't going to last past turn 2, and we both know it. But let's roll some dice and see what happens.
That's usually how it works. Well, it is coming towards the end of the show, but I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody in chat. Thanks for coming to hang out with us today live. For anybody else who's watching the recording and wants to hang out with us live, this is season 3 of Just Put Paint on It. We're going to be doing 32 to 34 guests throughout the course of the season, every Thursday and Friday. 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There will be a full playlist of all of these shows, which you will be able to catch all of Season 3, every guest that we have on the playlist. So if you want to check out the cool conversations that we have, it's completely up to you. I want to give a huge shout out to all the channel Patreons and people who support here on YouTube or on other social media by liking, sharing, subscribing, super chats, all that good stuff. Without whom, none of this would be possible. So thank you so much. That's the Denizen community that is one of the most positive and awesome groups of people I've ever had the pleasure of surrounding myself with. And I get really emotional every time I talk about it. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive into Matt. Please tell us a little bit more about Alpha Strike Gaming, where you are, where people can find you, what projects you have coming up that people should be excited about, and what does the future hold for you as well?
So we're located in a small little village, Elmville, Ontario. I think the population's actually increased and decreased over the past, 2 years, but I think we sit at about 1,500 people. We're in a really ideal spot for the area that's all around us. We're a little hub for everybody. We're equidistance for so many different cities that it's amazing. I've just expanded my gaming area, so can have many, many, many people in the store. I will, barring any shutdowns, anything like that happen, I am planning for a GT next year.
Oh, so excited.
So we are, every other weekend there's a Games Workshop tournament that is happening. We alternate between 40K and then Age of Sigmar, and then we have some video game guys that come in on the alternating Saturdays. We have a casual Sunday event. We have painting seminars. We have, you name it, we're going to be doing it. Blood Bowl, Necromunda. We have everything going.
Blood Bowl's huge in your area. You've got like a league going and stuff, right? Yeah.
So our league starts up at the end of April, and currently we have 18 players signed up for it.
That sounds incredible.
Our Necromunda community is growing every week. This week we had 8 players, and then next week there's 2 more new players that are coming out. So, I'll be doing some offshoot cool like team tournaments. I know that Chris at Labyrinth Games sort of paved the way for like a team trio thing, so we might give that a shot. I'll chat with him. And thank you very much. Yes, JJ Gamer. We do Friday night firefights every other Friday night.
I love those. I went to one, and I want to go again.
They're 500-point 3-round tournaments. Honestly, for S&Gs, it is the ideal thing for newer players that say, I want to play the game, and I say, here's a combat patrol.
Yep.
500 points.
And they paint it too. Like there's like brand new players. When I went for the first time, there was like these hobbyists. Their armies look so gorgeous, and they're like, "This is my first game of 40K ever." And I was like, "Man, your little combat patrol army looks so cool with these Ultramarines and these like Blood Angels and Imperial Fists." I was like, that's how you build community." And I love that you can play like 3 games in quick succession on a Friday night. I just haven't been able to go to one in like forever, and every time I see it pop up, I'm like, I want to go. I want to go again.
Yeah, honestly, the community here is a lot more hobby driven than they are like results driven. JJ Gamer, that's awesome. Chris, he's one of my absolute favorite individuals' dads that comes through the store. His name's Charlie. He reminds me of Tim Dietlifs when Tim was young. Mm-hmm. He's going to become something if he decides that he wants to keep playing the game. He's just got a brain in his head. If he didn't, I guess we'd be in trouble. Anyways, the dude that he's like, I don't like playing without unpainted models, and that's something that we've really sort of harbored up here. Is the hobby is more important than the results of the game, and the results will come. You just have to enjoy yourself. Like, let's have some fun, type things. So yeah.
100%, Matt. Thank you so much. One of the original gangsters of Just Put Paint on It. From 2 years ago when we started doing these streams because of COVID, because of lockdown, with the aim of meeting, greeting, getting to know people from all around the world, and sitting down and hobbying so that we wouldn't go crazy. So I hope you find these chats therapeutic as well, wherever you are at home. So Tanya, why don't you tell us a little round out, what do you have coming up? Where can people find you? Tanya Gates.
All right, well, you can also find me on the YouTubes. I am going to be coming back with Be Nice Roll Dice, as well as maybe some other things going on. And you can also find me on Instagram, Forge the Narrative Podcast. I do the odd tweet here and there. And yeah, you can basically just find me anywhere. And I do a little bit of Age of Sigmar, Warhammer 40K, Necromunda, and I've been doing more board gaming as well. So I might add some board gaming content. We'll see.
Nice. I love board games. They're really fun. They're definitely not boarding. And of course, for Matt's stuff, don't forget to behold what Alpha Strike Gaming will bring. There's a beholder behind you. The other side. There you go. Yeah. Behold! Other than that, thanks a lot for tuning in. I, of course, have been Skari, your grateful host.
You're really dragging this on.
I am. I'm on time. It's 12:30. Okay, bye-bye, everybody. Don't forget, for hashtag, just put paint on it. We'll see you with episode 2 tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.